Brent crude rallied above $80 a barrel for the first time since late 2014. That's on mounting signs that global stockpiles are shrinking. Those prices have since fallen back just slightly. Take a look at where we're sitting at the moment. We had just pared back a little bit after we saw that spike up just shy, really, there of the $80 mark. Let's get some more insights with our next guest, who runs a Mexican state oil giant, Pemex. Trevino joins us now from our Seattle studio for an exclusive conversation. Great to have you on with us. What do you make of these oil prices? We're getting increasingly bullish calls now for $90 a barrel, even beyond that, in a very short period of time. Do you think these prices are sustainable?
Well, to tell you the truth, it's very difficult for me, and something that I learned early before being the CEO is that any CEO should be doing any prediction about the price of the oil. But in a way, what we can see and what I really can tell you is that the scenario that we see for the near future, maybe for this year, it looks we're going to have a very strong price, as you just were mentioning. We have now a good price, if you can say so. But I mean, having higher prices maybe is not a very good idea. I think when we are selling the Mexican mix, something around 60 to 65, that's a very good and nice price. But going over that, I mean, maybe it's not a good idea. And it's difficult to predict what is going to happen in the long-term future because, as I told you, nobody would like to make any prediction on that. But what we're seeing is that we have this volatility in the market. So we think we must be attached to what is happening to the markets.
Where are you hedged at, or where are you planning to be hedged at for 2019? I believe you're looking to hedge about a third of production at about $51. Is that the level that you're still looking at right now?
Well, what we have in Mexico, we project our own budget based on what we call the pre-criteria. That is something that the Ministry of Finance sent to the Congress. And right now, we have this criteria on $51 per barrel for the Mexican mix. This is very important because what we use for the budget is the Mexican mix, not the WTI or other kind of oil. So we're talking about the Mexican mix, and what we're looking now, we're making some kind of research in the market. So we might be able to start this program on hedging maybe late September, because as you know, we in Mexico are ready to send the budget to the Congress in September 9th. That's the regular way we send our budget. And this year, because we want to change the president, we can send that budget later than September. But what we're planning to do, we're going to wait for September so we can have better proxy on what is going to be the price that we will be hedging our mix. And about the volume that we always hedge, we hedge 1/3 of the volume that we are producing, and I think will be pretty much the same volume for the next year.
Carlos, one of the biggest implications, I think, for your business over the next 12 months, you've got an election in July, presumably a new government taking over in December. What are the implications in terms of, are you rushing to try and get deals and contracts and agreements done before that happens? You enter a period of uncertainty. What does it mean for international participation and investment in the oil sector in Mexico, given that we know that the presidential frontrunner has promised, as a campaign promise, to walk back a lot of these opening up reforms?
Well, we had a pipeline, and this pipeline has already set their own timelines. And for example, we're already now working with the authorities, in this case the CNH, so we can go through a farm-out process of 7 different blocks or clusters. I must call it clusters because they implies at least 26 different assignations from the round zero, or blocks from the round zero. And of course, we are moving forward, but not just because election, and not just because election, because we have that in our pipeline, And as soon as we can get these blocks farmed out, well, that will be better for Pemex and for everybody. And also we have some other things going on. Of course, July 1 is a very important day for Mexico and for Pemex. But I don't think that will be some kind of milestone so we can rush or not rush what we're doing. I mean, everything that we do has their own legal times. For example, the farm outs have their own legal times. So we're working on as we planned that before, and we plan not only for this year. I mean, in this year we planned that before. So we're working in the same dates and with the same timeline that we designed before. And also for example, we are planning to go forward in those two farm outs that we didn't have any success last year. And I'm talking about Nobilis Maximino and Allin Batzil. So these two important blocks that we tried to farm out last year, we might be able to refarm out them so we can maybe have a partner in one of each different blocks. And about how is the investment going, not only the Mexican but the international investments in the energy sector, I mean, is huge. The Ministry of Energy, Pedro Joaquin Caldwell, had mentioned in a lot of his speeches that we have commitment for investment in Mexico, something around $200 billion for the next years. So I think that's very important, and what I see is that may continue in Mexico, because I think this is very important for the energy sector in Mexico, and of course, what the part that is for Pemex is also very important.
Carlos.
For new partners and doing business this way. Yeah.
Carlos Risch in Hong Kong. I just want to pick up on something you said in relationship to Heidi's first question about the oil price. You were saying 60, 65 is great, but anything beyond that or higher than that you didn't really want, and you might get into trouble. Why did you say that?
Well, I think because that's what has happened before. You know, when we have this contango in the price, at the end of the day, something will happen, and that will drop. Last time, the price for the Mexican mix were below $25, and you know, having those kind of volatility is not. I mean, it's not good for anybody. So I think for any business, including the energy business and for Pemex, being more steady in some ranges, that I think that's better. So you can plan better. You won't have any contango, not only in the price, because if you have the contango in the price, you will have that behavior also in your production cost, and I mean, this kind of volatility in the markets is not good for anybody.
Carlos, I get what you're saying there. Let's just move to refinery stake sales. Where are you with those?
Well, about the refineries, well, what we're doing, the plan that we have is that we are we just finished a major maintenance in two of our main refineries, that is Madero and Minatitlan. Right now, what we are running in our 6 refineries is something around 850,000 barrels per day. And when we start this year, I don't know if you remember that, or the audience may remember, we were running something around 400,000 barrels per day. So right now we're going and we're getting to the plateau that we were thinking that we may have in processing right now. And also for this year, we have two very important programs in 2 different refineries. One is Cadereyta, other one is Tula. We're going to repair the H-oil plant in Tula and also the FCC in Cadereyta. So we are doing this major maintenance in some of our plants in different refineries, so we can be more efficient, and we can have a better performance in our refineries, and mainly the efficiency of changing the crude oil into the gasoline. So that's the main business for the refinery.
Mexico does spend a bit of money and send crude abroad to be refined. If you get a leftist government, they're looking at refining more petroleum within Mexico. there are dangers there, but it could affect Asian refiners. That's one part of my question. The second part of my question is, are you concerned about a new administration there taking Mexico along the lines of Venezuela?
Well, tough questions. About the first question about refining all the oil that we are producing right now in Mexico, I see that very difficult because I think the mix that any country may have is something, a country like Mexico, I'm talking. So we have already a very important refinery capacity. And well, my recommendation will be, and it's actually what we're doing, is trying to improve on the margin what we are refining in Mexico. Right now, as I said, we are running 850,000 barrels per day. If we can improve our performance, having more biggest maintenance programs in our refinery, maybe we can rise this to 1 million barrels per day, having doing that with enough efficiency and we. Yes, hello.
We're out of time, I'm afraid. If you didn't get to the second part of my question, which was, are you afraid of Mexico going in the same way as Venezuela? But in 5 seconds.
Okay, I can answer you as a Mexican. I am aware of changing the path of the economic decision that we have right now in Mexico. So I think going back to some decisions and some policies that were proved that they didn't work before, I think that's going to be a good idea for Mexico. So, well, but that's a personal way of seeing the things because, you know, as a Mexican, yeah.